Welcome to Wisdom Bites. In today's video, we'll dive into one of the most profound books on the mind and presence, The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. This book not only helps us understand the power of living in the present moment but also offers practical methods to break free from anxiety, suffering, and find peace right here and right now. Stay tuned as we explore key lessons from the book and how you can apply them in your daily life to live more fully and experience true freedom. Have you ever felt that even when everything in your life seems to be going well, there's still this lingering sense of emptiness? A quiet anxiety that weighs you down? Maybe you've achieved success, landed a stable job, or built a happy family. And yet, there are moments when your mind is haunted by the past or constantly worried about the future. We often get caught in a never-ending stream of thoughts, chasing plans, clinging to expectations, and fearing all the what-ifs. But have you ever truly paused and asked yourself, am I really living in the present moment? The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle is not your typical self-help book. It doesn't offer success strategies, wealth-building tips, or ways to boost your communication skills. Instead, it presents a message that's both simple and incredibly profound. Living fully in the present moment is the key to genuine happiness and lasting peace. That might sound obvious, but if you really think about it, you'll realize that most of us rarely, if ever, live in the now. We're either stuck in memories of the past, regretting things we cannot change, or anxiously worrying about the future, wondering if tomorrow will be any better. Our minds are constantly restless, and true happiness always seems to be somewhere far away, just out of reach. This book doesn't just explain the power of now, it shows you how to actually live it. Eckhart Tolle went through a profound personal awakening after years of struggling with pain and anxiety. And what he shares isn't just theory, it's rooted in raw, real experience. His words have the power to shift the way you see life, to help you break free from the exhausting loop of negative thoughts and find peace. Right here, right now. So how do we actually live in the present? How do we stop worrying about the future or obsessing over the past? And more importantly, how do we take these principles and apply them to real life, not just understand them, but truly live them? We're about to explore the core ideas of the power of now. Keep your heart open, because what you're about to hear might just change the way you experience life. Once we begin to understand the importance of living in the present, the very first thing we must do is identify the greatest obstacle standing in our way, our own mind. Have you noticed how most of the time, we're trapped in an endless stream of thoughts? Our mind behaves like a machine that never stops running, constantly replaying old memories, worrying about what might happen next, or judging ourselves for not being enough. Sometimes, even when we're doing something as simple as sipping a cup of coffee or taking a walk, our thoughts drift to completely unrelated matters, pulling us away from the here and now. Eckhart Tolle points out that much of the suffering we experience doesn't actually come from the situation itself, but from how our mind reacts to it. A careless comment from someone can ruin our entire day. A small mistake might haunt us for years. But if you look deeper, you'll see that the real problem isn't what happened, it's how the mind interprets what happened. The mind isn't our enemy, but over time, it has stopped being our tool and started acting like our master. We no longer control our thoughts, they control us. And if we don't become aware of this, we remain stuck in the same cycle of anxiety, fear, and insecurity that our own mind creates. Tolle calls this state identification with the mind, meaning we believe we are our thoughts. But is that really true? If you can step back and observe your thoughts, then how could you be the thoughts themselves? This is the key insight. You are not your mind. You are the one who observes it. Take a moment right now. What is your mind saying? Is it reminding you of something you haven't done? Is it evaluating whether this content is useful? Or is it off wandering somewhere completely unrelated? The very act of noticing your thoughts instead of getting swept away by them creates a space, a small but powerful distance between you and your mind. And in that space lies your power. Once you realize that you are not your thoughts, you can begin to loosen their grip on you. You begin to take back control. So how do we put this into practice in daily life? The answer lies in the next step: recognizing our resistance to the present moment, and learning to let go. Once we've recognized that the mind is the main obstacle preventing us from living in the present, the next step is to notice how it resists the present moment. Eckhart Tolle explains that the mind, by its very nature, tends to resist reality. It doesn't accept what is, instead, it wants to change it, control it, or outright reject it. This resistance creates a kind of inner tension, a restlessness, a subtle sense of dissatisfaction that lingers just beneath the surface. Try observing yourself. Have you ever felt annoyed waiting for a bus that's taking longer than expected? Or irritated when someone says something that goes against your opinion? Those seemingly small moments are actually expressions of your mind's resistance to what is. Rather than accepting the situation as it is, your mind instantly reacts. It wants things to be different. Tolle points out that this resistance often manifests in three ways: blame, complaining, and anger. When we react negatively to a situation, we're essentially fighting reality. But no matter how hard we resist, the facts don't change. What does change is the level of suffering we create within ourselves. So how do we break free from this cycle? The answer lies in surrender. Now, surrender might sound like weakness, but in this context, it doesn't mean giving up or letting life walk all over you. It means fully accepting the present moment, exactly as it is, without judgment. When you stop fighting what's happening, you stop feeding the negativity that comes with it. Let's say you're stuck in traffic and running late. You have two options. One is to get frustrated, curse the situation, and let the stress build until you're physically tense. But that doesn't get the cars moving any faster. The other is to accept. I'm in traffic. This is what's happening right now. And from that space of acceptance, you might use the time to breathe, listen to some music, or simply observe the world around you. Suddenly, everything feels lighter. The mind no longer has power over you. This doesn't mean accepting injustice or giving up on your goals. If you're in a toxic relationship or an unfulfilling job, surrendering doesn't mean doing nothing. It simply means seeing the situation clearly, without letting your negative emotions cloud your judgment. That clarity allows you to take more thoughtful, empowered action. Through this practice of surrender, you'll start to realize that most of the stress you've experienced didn't come from the event itself. It came from your internal resistance to it. And once you let go of that resistance, you open the door to real peace. So, how can we stay in this peaceful state more consistently? The secret lies in creating inner stillness, and that's exactly what we'll explore in the next part. Once we begin to realize that the mind's constant chatter and inner resistance are the true sources of our suffering, the next step is to create a space of inner stillness. And this stillness isn't just about sitting in a quiet room, it's a stillness of the mind. A state where you're no longer being controlled by the never-ending stream of thoughts. Eckhart Tolle emphasizes that most of us are trapped in the noise of our minds. Even when we think we're being quiet, try observing your inner world for a moment. Even when you sit in silence, isn't there often a stream of thoughts running through your head? Maybe it's your to-do list for tomorrow, unresolved issues, or memories that keep replaying themselves. These thoughts form a kind of fog that blocks your access to true peace. So, how do we access this space of stillness? One of the simplest ways is to observe your breath. Just take a moment right now, pause and simply notice your breathing. As you inhale, be aware that you're inhaling. As you exhale, be aware that you're exhaling. It might seem like nothing special, but in doing this, you gently pull your attention away from the stream of thoughts and into the present moment. Tolle explains that the present moment, when free of thought, is stillness. It's not something you need to go out and find, it's already there. Waiting in the quiet gaps between your thoughts. The very moment you become aware that you're thinking, you've created a bit of space between yourself and the thought. And that space, that tiny distance, is your gateway to stillness. Another way to access this state is by listening to the silence around you. No matter where you are, whether it's a quiet room, a noisy street, or the middle of nature, try tuning into the silence between sounds. As soon as you become aware of that silence, a sense of peace begins to rise from within. It's not just the silence outside, it's the silence inside you that you're awakening to. Eckhart Tolle also points out that stillness doesn't mean eliminating thoughts altogether. Many people believe they have to stop all thinking to be spiritually awake, but that's not realistic. The key is not to identify with your thoughts. Let them come and go, like clouds drifting across the sky, without clinging to any of them. When you practice this regularly, you'll begin to feel a kind of inner calm, even when life around you is chaotic. You won't be as swept away by worry, restlessness, or stress, because you've discovered a quiet refuge within yourself. But here's something important: stillness is not the final destination. It's the foundation. It's what allows you to fully live in the present moment. And that's exactly what we'll explore in the next part. As you begin to experience inner stillness, you'll come to realize a powerful truth. All suffering stems from resisting the present moment. We don't suffer because of our circumstances, we suffer because of our thoughts about those circumstances. It may sound abstract at first, but think back to your own experiences. How many times have you felt stressed, angry, or upset? Not because of what was actually happening in the moment, but because of how you thought it should have been different. Eckhart Tolle calls this inner resistance, a constant battle between what is and what you think should be. Whenever you refuse to accept the present moment, unease naturally follows. For instance, imagine you're stuck in traffic. Your frustration doesn't come from the traffic itself, it comes from thoughts like, I shouldn't be here. I'm going to be late. If only I had left earlier. But if you strip those thoughts away, what's actually happening? You're just sitting in a car. That's it, nothing more. The key to freeing yourself from this suffering is letting go of resistance and fully accepting the present as it is. But don't confuse acceptance with passivity. It doesn't mean giving up or doing nothing, it simply means stopping the fight against what already is. When you accept the present moment without judgment or inner conflict, something shifts. A sense of peace begins to emerge. Imagine standing in the rain. If you keep thinking, I hate this weather, I don't want to get wet, it should be sunny, you'll likely feel irritated. But if you simply notice, it's raining, and accept that reality without adding a mental narrative, the discomfort fades. The rain hasn't changed, you have. You're no longer resisting it. To practice this, Tolle suggests asking yourself a simple question. Am I resisting this moment? If the answer is yes, try letting go of that resistance, just for a second, and notice what happens. You might still dislike the situation, but you'll find that it no longer has power over your emotional state. Another crucial point is that acceptance doesn't mean giving up your desire to improve your life. You can still take action to change your situation, but when that action comes from a place of inner calm rather than frustration, it becomes far more powerful. For example, if you're unhappy with your job, you can work toward a change, but rather than doing it out of resentment, you do it from a place of clarity and peace, recognizing that while change is possible, this moment right now is your current reality. When you fully embrace the present, you'll discover that problems don't actually exist in the now. All problems are created in the mind, usually by thinking about the future or dwelling on the past. Just look around for a moment, right here, right now. Is there a real problem? Or is there simply you in this moment? Once you truly understand this, you begin to see that real freedom doesn't come from controlling the external world. It comes from ending your resistance to reality. That's the foundation of living fully in the now, and it's what we'll continue to explore in the next part. Once you begin practicing present moment acceptance, something interesting starts to happen. You realize that most of the time, your mind isn't actually here. It's either dwelling in the past or projecting into the future. And that is what creates inner turmoil. Try watching yourself. How often are you truly present, fully immersed in what's happening right now? Or are you more often caught in thoughts like, I shouldn't have done that, or what if tomorrow doesn't go well? Eckhart Tolle explains that our minds are conditioned to avoid the present moment. We're constantly led to believe that happiness is somewhere in the future. When I get a better job, I'll be happy. When I have more money, I'll stop worrying. Once I reach this goal, I'll finally feel fulfilled. But what's the truth? The moment you reach that thing, your mind is already chasing the next. That's why so many people, even those who seem to have everything they once dreamed of, still feel unsatisfied. Because happiness doesn't live in the future. It only ever exists now. But to actually experience this, you have to learn how to quiet the noise in your head and bring your attention back to the present. One simple way to do this is by focusing on your breath. Just notice each inhale and exhale. When you're fully absorbed in your breathing, your mind can't wander. It's impossible to be both lost in thought and present at the same time. Because true presence and mental chatter don't coexist. Tolle also suggests using your body as a gateway into the now. Try this. Feel your hands. Don't move them, just sense them. Can you feel the subtle energy in your palms right now? If you do this for even a few seconds, you'll notice something remarkable. As your attention shifts to the physical sensations within your body, your thoughts begin to quiet down naturally. These simple practices don't just help you become more alert, they help you remember something deeper. You are not your mind. Your thoughts are not who you are, they're just passing waves. And the moment you stop identifying with them, a space opens up inside you. A space of stillness, of peace, of clarity you may never have noticed before. And this lays the groundwork for something even deeper that we'll explore next. The false self your mind has constructed, the ego. The identity that's been controlling your life without you even realizing it. The ego, a concept that sounds abstract at first, yet it's something that controls so much of our lives without us even realizing it. Eckhart Tolle describes the ego as a story the mind creates about who you are, and we unconsciously believe in that story. Think about how you usually define yourself. You might say, I'm an educated person, I'm successful, I'm a failure, I'm anxious, or even, I'm a happy person. These are just labels your mind has placed on you, drawn from past experiences. And here's the dangerous part. You start to identify with those labels, believing they're the truth about who you are. But if you look more closely, you'll see that the ego isn't really you. It's just a bundle of thoughts and memories. And more importantly, the ego is never satisfied. It's always comparing, always seeking validation from the outside world to keep itself alive. For example, if you take pride in your job, your ego craves recognition. When someone compliments you, you feel uplifted. But when someone criticizes you, you feel crushed. Why? Because you've attached your self-worth to that identity. And the same thing plays out in every area of life: money, status, appearance, relationships. The ego constantly seeks affirmation. And without it, you feel insecure. But what's the deeper truth? You are not your ego. You are not your title, your career, your success or failure. You are not your thoughts or your emotions. You are something much deeper, a quiet, aware presence behind all of it. And when you realize this, you begin to access a freedom you may never have known before. You no longer need to prove anything to anyone. You stop being tossed around by praise or criticism. You start to live in the present, instead of being trapped in the stories the ego spins. But how do you actually step out of the ego? How do you discover this deeper freedom? That's what we're going to explore next. The key to freeing yourself from the ego is awareness. You cannot fight the ego, because when you try to resist it, you're only reinforcing its power. Instead, you need to observe it calmly, without judgment. Imagine sitting by a river, watching the leaves drift by. Instead of trying to grab them, you simply watch them float along. This is how you should approach the ego. When a thought arises, like, I'm not good enough, or, I need to do something to be recognized, instead of immediately believing it, take a step back and observe it. Realize that it's just a thought, not the truth. This is where awakening happens. Once you realize the ego is not who you are, it begins to lose its grip, and you begin to feel something you may never have truly experienced before: inner peace. Eckhart Tolle emphasizes that the ego always lives in the past or the future, but never in the present. It either clings to old memories or worries about what's to come. This keeps us in a constant state of unease because we're never truly living in the present moment, the only place where life actually happens. Think about the times when you get caught up in thoughts about the past. Perhaps you regret something, or feel angry about how someone treated you. But what's really happening? You're living in memories, which only exist in your mind. They're no longer real. Or maybe you worry about the future, about money, your job, your health. But are these things actually happening right now? They're just scenarios your mind is imagining. So, how do you break free from this loop? By returning to the present moment. Try something simple right now. Take a deep breath and feel the air as it enters your lungs. Really feel it. In this very moment. Where are you? What are you doing? Are you truly here, in this moment, or is your mind wandering somewhere else? Awakening is not some far-off concept. It's simply being fully aware of the present moment. And when you can do this, you begin to feel a sense of peace that nothing external can give you. But if awareness is the key to escaping the ego, why do we still get caught in the spiral of thoughts? Why is living in the present so difficult? The answer lies in something subtle: identification with the mind. And that's what we'll explore in the next section. We've talked about awakening and how it helps us break free from the control of the ego. But why do most people not realize this? Why does our mind constantly drift between the past and the future, instead of truly living in the present? The answer lies in a simple but powerful concept: identification with the mind. Imagine you're watching a movie. When the movie is so captivating, you forget that you're just an observer sitting in front of the screen. You get swept into the story, experiencing all the emotions with the characters: happiness, sadness, fear, excitement. But what's the reality? You're still sitting there, and all of it is just flashing images on the screen. The same thing happens with the mind. We get caught up in the thoughts, feelings, and stories the mind creates, to the point where we forget one thing: we are not those thoughts. Eckhart Tolle says, the mind is a wonderful tool, but if you don't know how to control it, it will control you. And the truth is, most people are controlled by their minds without even realizing it. Have you ever experienced this? A thought appears, perhaps about a mistake in the past or a worry about the future, and immediately, your emotions shift. You feel stressed, sad, anxious. But is that thought the truth? Not really. It's just a thought, a fleeting image in your mind. but because you identify with it. You feel like it's part of you. It's this identification that keeps us trapped in suffering. When you believe you are your thoughts, you're no longer an observer, you become a victim of them. So, how do you break free? The answer lies in something Eckhart Tolle calls thought-free awareness. Try a simple exercise. Close your eyes for a few seconds and just observe the thoughts that come up. Don't try to push them away. And don't judge them, just observe them, as if you were watching clouds floating across the sky. What happens? You'll realize that you're not those thoughts. You are the one observing them. And once you realize this, you begin to detach yourself from the identification with the mind. Eckhart Tolle says that the moment you recognize a thought, it no longer controls you. You can let it come and go without getting caught up in it. This is the first step toward true peace. Not by controlling the mind, but by becoming aware of it. So, how do we apply this in our daily lives? How can we live more consciously in a world full of distractions and anxiety? This is the important question we'll explore in the next section. There's something interesting about awakening that many people don't realize. It's not some special or supernatural state, but something incredibly simple. It's just being present in this moment. But because it's so simple, we often overlook it. Imagine you're washing dishes. Do you really pay attention to every movement of your hands? The feeling of water flowing over your skin? Or the light reflecting off the surface of the plate? Or is your mind wandering, thinking about work, about things you haven't finished, or a conversation you had the day before? Most of the time, we're not truly living in the present. We get stuck in a constant stream of thoughts, worrying about the future, regretting the past. But what's the reality? The only moment we truly have is the present. Eckhart Tolle says, the past is just a memory. The future is just an imagination. Only this moment is real. When you truly understand this, you will experience a profound shift. You'll realize that most of the stress and anxiety you feel doesn't come from the actual situation, but from your thoughts about it. Let's go back to the example of washing dishes. If you're really present in that moment, focusing solely on the sensation of the water, the movement of your hands, the smell of the soap, what do you notice? No stress, no anxiety, just the peace of simply being alive. Practicing awakening doesn't mean you have to meditate for hours or retreat to a quiet place away from the world. In fact, it's the small moments in your daily life, when you drink tea, when you walk, when you listen to someone speak, that can serve as gateways to awakening. One simple practice Eckhart Tolle suggests is taking a few seconds during your day to just stop and notice. Try it right now. Pause for a moment, close your eyes, take a deep breath, feel the air going in and out, listen to the sounds around you. Feel your body, the beat of your heart. In this moment, there is nothing else but now. Can you feel it? Just returning to the present. You've stepped into peace instantly. But how do we maintain this? How can we avoid getting swept up in negative thoughts and emotions in our everyday lives? In the next section, we'll explore how to master the mind, instead of letting the mind master you. One of the biggest challenges in practicing awakening is mastering the mind. If you've ever tried to sit still and focus only on the present, you may have noticed that the mind doesn't easily obey. It constantly jumps from one thought to another, pulling you into stories, fears, worries, or fantasies about the future. Eckhart Tolle calls this the mind's trick. The mind has a very strong habit. It always seeks something to latch onto. It can generate all sorts of thoughts, from worries about work, to memories from the past, or imagining a better future. But all of these are just illusions. Have you ever asked yourself, if I'm not my thoughts, then who am I? This is an important question. Eckhart Tolle says that you are not the thoughts that arise in your mind. You are the one who observes those thoughts. Let's try a small exercise. Sit quietly for a few seconds and listen to the voice inside your head. Can you hear it? It might be saying something like, what am I doing here? What's the point of this? Or, I can't stop thinking. But now, pay attention to one thing. Who is listening to these thoughts? There's a part of you, the awakened part, that's observing all these thoughts. And that is your true nature. Realizing this is a turning point, because when you realize that you are not your thoughts, you begin to separate yourself from the mind. You're no longer caught in the whirlwind of thoughts and emotions. Instead, you can step back and just observe them, just like you would observe clouds drifting across the sky. Eckhart Tolle gives a great example. Imagine your mind is like a river. If you jump into that river, you'll be swept away by the current, unable to control where you're being carried. But if you stand on the bank and simply observe the river flowing, you're no longer swept away. This is the difference between being controlled by the mind and observing the mind. But how do we practice this in daily life? One simple way is whenever you notice yourself getting lost in thoughts, ask yourself, am I truly present in the moment right now? Just by asking this question, you will instantly return to this moment. You'll realize that most of the worries and fears you have aren't real, they only exist in your mind. In daily life, there are countless situations that pull us into the mind. Maybe it's when you're standing in a long line at the supermarket, feeling frustrated, or when someone says something that annoys you, or when you're driving and another driver cuts you off. These moments are opportunities for you to practice observing the mind. Instead of reacting immediately, pause for a moment and recognize, I'm having a negative thought. But I'm not this thought. It simply arises, and it will pass. When you do this, you begin to free yourself from the control of the mind. And that's when you truly touch inner freedom. In the next section, we'll explore something even deeper: how to accept the present and stop resisting life. One of the biggest barriers to fully living in the present moment is resistance to what is happening. Most of us have an unconscious habit to react to life with opposition, frustration, or the desire for things to be different. Eckhart Tolle calls this internal resistance, when we don't truly accept the present moment, but instead, we want it to be different. This can manifest in many forms. When you feel dissatisfied with your job and wish for a better one. When you look at other people's lives on social media and feel envious because they seem happier than you. When you meet someone you don't like and negative thoughts about them constantly appear in your mind. When you recall a mistake from the past and wish you had done things differently. When you worry about the future and think, I won't be able to cope with this. All of these stem from resistance to the present. But here's a simple truth. The present moment is always just as it is. Whether you like it or not, it happens as it is. When you resist the present, you're only hurting yourself. Eckhart Tolle offers a different perspective. Learn to surrender to the present. Surrender here doesn't mean giving up. It means accepting what is happening without judgment, without resistance. When you can do this, you will feel a tremendous sense of liberation. For example, if you're in a situation you can't change immediately, like being stuck in traffic, making a mistake at work, or meeting a difficult person, you can try a different approach. Instead of getting frustrated or upset, remind yourself, this is the present moment. It's happening, so why should I resist it? Just this thought can help you feel much lighter. Imagine you're standing in the rain. You could get angry, upset, complain about the rain, or wish you were somewhere else. But no matter what you do, the rain will continue to fall. If you accept that it's raining, and that's okay, you'll feel much more at ease. In life, there are also rains you can't control, challenges, setbacks, things that don't go as planned. When you learn to accept them instead of resisting, you no longer feel suffering. This doesn't mean you shouldn't try to change your circumstances when possible. But before changing anything, first accept it, because only when you truly accept it, can you act wisely and calmly, rather than reacting negatively and impulsively. Eckhart Tolle says that whenever you face a difficult situation, you have three choices. 1. Fully accept it. If you can't change it immediately, accept it peacefully. 2. Take action to change it. If the situation can be changed, do so, but with mindfulness, not driven by negative emotions. 3. Leave the situation. If you can't accept it and can't change it, leave. Most of us choose the fourth option, complaining and whining. But that never helps. So next time you feel frustrated or upset about something, ask yourself, can I accept this? If not, what can I do to change it? If I can't change it right now, can I leave? If not, then why resist it? When you learn this lesson, you will no longer feel stuck in unpleasant situations. You'll have an inner strength to face whatever comes without being drawn into negativity. And when you do this, you will take an important step on the journey to fully live in the present moment. In the next section, we will explore another key aspect: how to overcome negative thoughts and painful emotions. One of the biggest barriers preventing us from living fully in the present moment is our obsession with negative thoughts and painful emotions. We often think that thinking is an essential part of life, but Eckhart Tolle points out that most of our thoughts are unnecessary and repetitive. Try to notice how many of your thoughts are truly important and helpful, and how many are just endless loops that lead to no solutions. We often get stuck in negative thoughts about the past or worries about the future. This creates psychological pain, a type of suffering that comes from our own minds, not from external circumstances. Eckhart Tolle calls this the pain body, a form of negative energy that accumulates in our mind and body. It forms from past painful experiences, unresolved wounds, and it can rise at any time, making us feel sad, angry, or frustrated without knowing why. Have you ever felt your mood suddenly drop for no reason? Or have there been times when you reacted excessively to a situation, even though you knew it wasn't worth getting angry or upset? That's when your pain body is at work. So, how can we overcome negative thoughts and free ourselves from the control of the pain body? 1. Awareness of your thoughts. The first step to escaping the control of negative thoughts is to realize that you are not those thoughts. Try observing your mind. When a negative thought arises, ask yourself, who is observing this thought? The moment you realize you are observing the thought, you are no longer caught up in it. You become the observer, not the victim of your thoughts. Imagine your mind as a vast sky. Thoughts are like clouds drifting by. You can see them, but you are not them. 2. Do not judge your thoughts. When a negative thought arises, instead of trying to push it away or struggle with it, simply observe it without judgment. Try telling yourself, a negative thought just appeared, but it's just a thought, nothing more. By doing this, you no longer allow the thought to control you. It will naturally lose its power. 3. Shift your attention to the present moment. A powerful way to escape the spiral of negative thinking is to shift your attention to the present moment. You can do this by focusing on your breath. Inhale slowly, feel the air entering your lungs, and then exhale gently. Feel each moment of the breath. Or, you can focus on the sensations in your body. Feel your feet touching the ground, the temperature of the air on your skin, and listen to the sounds around you without judgment. By doing this, you draw your attention away from the mind and back to the present, where negative thoughts cannot exist. 4. Do not identify with the pain body. When you feel sad or angry, try to observe that feeling without identifying with it. Remind yourself, this is not my true self, it's just a temporary emotional state. Imagine you are watching a storm in the sky. You know it will come and go, but the sky remains vast and calm. You are the sky, and the emotions are just passing storms. When you realize this, the negative emotion will lose its power, and you will no longer be controlled by it. 5. Accept what is. Instead of fighting against your emotions, try to accept them. Tell yourself, I am feeling sad, and that's okay. When you accept your emotions without judgment or trying to change them, they will naturally pass. Remember, no emotion lasts forever. Everything changes, and when you don't cling to negative emotions, they will gradually fade away. With these methods, you can free yourself from the control of negative thoughts and the pain body. You will no longer be trapped in the suffering loops that the mind creates. And instead, you will be able to live mindfully and peacefully in the present moment. In the next section, we will explore another crucial element that helps you maintain a state of mindfulness: how to overcome anxiety about the future and things that haven't happened yet. One of the biggest barriers preventing us from living fully in the present is our anxiety about the future. We always have questions in our minds. What if I fail? What if things don't go according to plan? Will I have enough money to take care of my future? These thoughts repeat over and over, leaving us in a constant state of stress and unease. But ask yourself, how many of the things you worry about actually happen? Psychological research shows that most of our worries never come to fruition. They exist only in our minds. Yet they have the power to influence our emotions and actions. Eckhart Tolle emphasizes that worrying is not a way to prepare for the future. It does not help us avoid risks or solve problems. On the contrary, it only drains our energy and disconnects us from the present. So, how can we overcome anxiety about the future and find peace right now? 1. Realize that the future does not exist. The first thing to understand is, the future is just a concept in the mind. It does not exist in reality. Think about this. Can you live in tomorrow? When tomorrow comes, it will become today. You can only live in the present. But why do we still worry about the future? Because our minds constantly try to control things that haven't happened yet. It seeks to predict, plan, and calculate to avoid risk. But the problem is, no one can control the future with certainty. Life always has unexpected elements that we cannot predict. So, instead of worrying about things that haven't happened, focus on what you can do right now. 2. Shift your attention to the present. Whenever you feel anxious about the future, ask yourself, is there any problem right now? In 90% of cases, the answer will be no. You are still breathing, you are safe, and you have everything you need to keep going. When you realize that there is no problem in the present, you will worry less about the future. You can start enjoying life right now, rather than waiting for an uncertain future. A practical way to do this is by focusing on the sensations in your body. Try placing your hand on your chest and feel your heartbeat, or close your eyes and focus on your breath. By doing this, you will realize that you are living in the present moment, and there is nothing to worry about. 3. Take action instead of worrying. If there is something causing you anxiety, ask yourself, what can I do right now to improve this situation? If the answer is yes, then take action. If you're worried about finances, make a savings plan or look for additional sources of income. If you're worried about your health, start exercising and eating healthily. But if there's nothing you can do right now, then worrying is pointless. Let go of it and focus on the present. 4. Accept uncertainty. One of the main causes of anxiety is our desire for everything to be certain. We want to know what will happen, to have answers to all our problems. But the truth is, life always has unpredictable elements. Instead of trying to control everything, learn to accept uncertainty. Trust that whatever happens, you will find a way to face it. Eckhart Tolle says, worrying cannot change the future, but it can destroy the present. So, instead of letting your mind race with useless worries, take time to live fully in the present. In the next section, we will explore how to enjoy the little things in life and find peace in even the most ordinary moments. One of the most profound insights Eckhart Tolle offers in The Power of Now is that happiness doesn't lie in grand achievements, but in the small moments of the present. We often tend to think that happiness only comes when we achieve big goals, buying a house, getting a promotion, earning more money, or finding true love. But the problem is, even when we achieve those things, the joy is often short-lived. Soon after, our minds start seeking something else, and this cycle repeats endlessly. So why do some people, even without much material wealth, feel peaceful and happy? The answer lies in their ability to enjoy the little things in life. Think about those simple yet meaningful moments. The warmth of the morning sun on your face, the fragrance of a freshly brewed cup of coffee, the sound of birds singing on a peaceful morning, the soothing sensation of a gentle breeze on your skin. These may seem ordinary, but if you truly take the time to appreciate them, they can bring deep joy. But how do we enjoy these little things when our minds are constantly consumed by worries and endless thoughts? 1. Slow down and observe your surroundings. Most of the time, we live on autopilot. We do everything unconsciously without really paying attention. Try slowing down. Take a moment to observe your surroundings. When you eat, truly savor the flavors of the food instead of scrolling through your phone. When you walk, notice the sounds, colors, and the sensation beneath your feet. By doing this, you'll realize that every moment has its own unique beauty. 2. Feel instead of thinking. Our minds are often filled with endless thoughts, worrying about the future, regretting the past, thinking about what needs to be done. But Eckhart Tolle says that peace is not found in thinking, it's found in presence. Instead of letting your mind race with thoughts, try focusing on the sensations in your body. Oh, when you drink a glass of water, feel the flow of water down your throat. Oh, when you listen to music, feel each melody instead of just letting it play in the background. Oh, when you sit, feel the contact between your body and the chair. These simple actions can help you reconnect with the present and find peace in the moment. 3. Practice gratitude for what you have. We often focus on what we don't have, forgetting what we already possess. But the truth is, there is always something to be grateful for in any situation. Think about it. Oh, you have a place to live. Oh, you have enough food to eat every day. Oh, you have loved ones around you. Oh, you have the opportunity to learn and grow. Take a little time each day to think about what you're grateful for. This not only helps you feel happier but also allows you to live more fully in the present. 4. Accept the present moment as it is. One reason we struggle to enjoy the present is that we always want it to be different. If it's raining, we wish it were sunny. If we're stuck in traffic, we wish we were at home. But the truth is, no moment is wrong. Everything that's happening is perfectly aligned with reality. When you stop resisting and accept the present moment as it is, you'll find much more peace. Eckhart Tolle says, life is not a series of moments to be endured, but moments to be enjoyed. So why waste the present just waiting for an uncertain future? Start enjoying life right now. Appreciate the small things around you. And remember, happiness is not far away, it's right here, in this moment. In the next section, we'll dive deeper into how to break free from the control of the ego and find true freedom. One of the biggest barriers to experiencing the present moment is the ego, the sense of self that constantly tries to define who we are through the past and the future. Eckhart Tolle suggests that the ego cannot exist in the present, it only survives through time. Have you ever noticed that most of the thoughts in your mind are related to the past or the future? We think about things that have already happened, our mistakes, past hurts, or we worry about what's coming, work, money, relationships, the distant future. But if you stop and observe, you'll realize that none of these thoughts are actually necessary in the present moment. When you get too absorbed in the past or the future, you're missing out on the one moment you truly have, the present. So how can we break free from the control of the ego? 1. Recognize the voice in your head. Eckhart Tolle says that the first step to freeing yourself from the ego is to become aware of it. Observe the thoughts that appear in your mind every day. Do they repeat themselves? Do they always try to judge, compare, or assess? The ego is very skilled at creating a story about itself. Oh, I must be more successful than others to be valuable. Oh, I must prove myself to be recognized. Oh, if I fail, I will no longer be worth anything. These thoughts keep us trapped in cycles of anxiety and pressure. But the important thing to remember is, you are not your thoughts. When you can observe them without getting caught up in them, you are slowly detaching yourself from the ego. 2. Stop identifying yourself with thoughts and emotions. The ego makes us believe that we are our thoughts. If you have a negative thought, the ego will say, I am a negative person. If you feel frustrated, it will tell you, my life is terrible. But the truth is, thoughts and emotions are just things that come and go. They don't define who you are. Imagine you're sitting by a river, and your thoughts are like leaves floating on the water. You can observe them without jumping into the river to catch them. When you can do this, you'll begin to feel lighter. 3. Let go of the need to control. The ego always wants to control everything. It wants things to go according to its expectations. But life doesn't always follow the plan. When you cling to control, you will always feel frustrated and anxious. But when you learn to accept what's happening, you will find more peace. Think about times when you worried about something in the future. Did things unfold exactly as you imagined? Most of the time, we worry about things that never actually happen. So why not learn to trust the flow of life? When you accept that you can't control everything, you'll feel much freer. 4. Find inner stillness. The ego thrives on the noise of thinking. When you keep thinking constantly, you fuel the ego. But when you take time to be still and simply exist, the ego loses its power. Try spending a few minutes each day sitting quietly, breathing, and feeling the life within your body. You'll realize that there's a part of you that's always at peace. Always still. That part isn't affected by thoughts or emotions. That is your true nature, not the stories the ego creates. Eckhart Tolle says, peace does not mean the absence of problems. Peace means that, despite problems, you are not controlled by them. When you learn to observe the ego instead of being controlled by it, you will find true freedom. You won't be swept away by unnecessary worries or pressured by comparisons and expectations. You'll begin to live more lightly, enjoying each moment without being bound by the past or the future. So how can you apply this in real life? In the next section, we'll explore how to use the breath and body as tools to return to the present moment. To conclude, let's focus on synthesizing the key lessons and offering practical guidance on how to apply them to our daily lives. The most important lesson that the power of now emphasizes is the absolute presence in the moment. This is not an abstract concept, but rather a skill that can be cultivated. Eckhart Tolle doesn't just talk about this as a theory, he provides very specific guidelines. When you realize that all suffering exists because you're either clinging to the past or worrying about the future, you can consciously bring yourself back to the present using the techniques he describes. For example, you can use your breath as an anchor to keep yourself in the present. Try this right now. Take a deep breath. Feel the air entering your body. And then exhale slowly. When you do this, you can't simultaneously be caught up in negative thoughts about the past or the future. Another way to practice is to observe your thoughts without judgment. Imagine your mind as the sky and your thoughts as clouds drifting by. You don't need to cling to them, nor do you need to push them away. When you realize that you are not your thoughts, you'll create a distance between yourself and them, and you won't be controlled by them anymore. In your daily life, you can practice presence through simple actions like drinking tea, walking, or even washing dishes. Instead of doing these tasks mindlessly, really focus on them. When you drink tea, savor the fragrance, the warmth of the cup in your hands, and the taste of the tea on your tongue. When you walk, feel each step, the breeze against your skin, and the sounds around you. Applying these practices not only helps you feel more peaceful but also enhances every aspect of your life. You'll listen better to others, respond more mindfully to difficult situations, and find joy in even the most ordinary things. So, rather than just reading and understanding these ideas, actually practice them. You don't need to change your life completely right away. But start with a small action, maybe a minute of focused breathing every day. Or taking a moment to truly enjoy your meal without distractions. You don't have to pursue some distant state of enlightenment. The peace you seek has always been here. In this very moment, all you need to do is stop, breathe, and truly live right now. Thank you for watching. We hope this summary of the power of now has inspired you to embrace the present moment and let go of the constant distractions of past and future. Remember, peace and clarity are always available to us when we choose to live fully in the now. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you won't miss any future insights from Wisdom Bites. Stay present, stay mindful, and we'll see you in the next video.